Hey, what up, guys? John here with Linkswell Together podcast episode 29, coming to you from inside the Oregon Auto Show up in Portland. That's it. Episode 29 on site kicks off now. Hey, what up, guys? That's right. We are hanging out in Portland today. I told you guys last week we were in studio for a week, and here we are in Portland, day one, just less than an hour from show opening, and I got a guest with me. He's our very first returning guest, which means he's twice as important as everybody else.
Not quite, but the weather in Portland is still gray and overcast.
Yes.
That is for sure. Some things don't change.
It does not change. It wasn't raining though.
No, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
I think we got blessed a little bit with that one.
Yeah. We thought we were coming with the rain because it's been raining down south. Well, it was raining down south up until we left, and then but then we got here. It wasn't been too bad.
Yeah.
I haven't got too wet.
No, not too bad. No.
Yeah, but apparently that's what it is here all the time.
It's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
So as a native, yes, it's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
But I was going to share, me and Jonathan talking a little bit. I was going to share a little bit about my background, how I got into the industry, or as I like to say, born into the industry.
Love it.
It's been many years. Since I can remember, like 5 or 6 years old, I was going to trade shows. As some of you may not know, my father, Rob Sutton, is an industry veteran. He worked at Kenwood for over 17 years in a sales role. So I've just been around it forever, and it really has a special place in my heart. I love music, not just the gear that plays the music. I do love all of it. So it's really a dream industry for me to be in.
Yeah.
And I really loved every minute of it so
That's
far.
cool.
Yeah.
I guess technically I was born into the industry too.
Yes.
Yeah. My dad cut his teeth as a installer when he was 18 or whatever. So.
Yeah. Wiles.
Yeah.
While back.
So is it a good thing or a bad thing that we've been born into this?
I think it's perspective.
It's perspective. Fair enough.
I could be doing a lot worse careers.
Yes.
I think about that every single day, and how blessed I am in that aspect.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely some ups and downs like everything in life.
Yeah. Very cool, man. Yeah. I've been same for me. My dad worked for AudioVox, worked for TMI, worked for a bunch of other companies. Works here at Linkswell.
Yeah.
And I've always been a car guy. Always loved the audio, and having a dad that worked in the industry was kind of a special aspect to it, getting to go to some of the trade shows that you're not allowed to go to, getting the exhibitor badges so you can go in early, and you think you're super cool. So I actually had the pleasure or the honor, I don't know, it was really exciting. My sons got to come to SEMA, not this past year, but the year before that.
Wow, yeah.
So getting to get them in, and it's funny. So my youngest son, he's 15 now. He's always been into cars, always.
That's awesome.
And my older son just turned 18, and he got into cars when he could drive.
Okay.
Then he realized these are cool.
Yeah, these
are really cool. Yeah. So
sometimes it takes you have to drive them first, and that'll open up your possibilities.
Then you're like,
right?
yeah. So
nice.
So he got to come to SEMA, and I think I had already. I'm trying to think timeline. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty good friends with Matt over at Kicker, Matt Matheson, and so I reached out to him, and he sent me a couple things for my son's car, and we souped up his audio system, So
that's really cool.
I'm pretty sure it was before SEMA that we did all that. So he got to go meet Matt, and he got to sit in Kicker's Warhorse, sounds all of that stuff. So he's cruising around in hand-me-down, old school big massive woofers that I had in some of my old cars, that I've just lived in the garage, and so. He's heard good. He thinks his system's super good, and it is pretty good, But then he gets into some of
until you hear the better one. There's always a better one.
He's
guys.
Dad, I think I need a little bit more bass. And I'm like, I mean, I agree, but I disagree, son.
Yeah, I feel like you're explaining my life. Yeah, every system I've had, a little bit more.
That's the problem.
Yes, and that's where we come back to perspective. You got to be grateful for what you have. And
yeah, for sure.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah, cool, man. So we have kindred spirits there.
100%.
I knew you were special. I just had a feeling.
I'm obviously the first returning guest. I have to be.
That's true.
Right? Yeah, I have to
That's
be.
true. First returning guest. Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Well, we are, man. We're up in your neck of the woods this go around.
Yes, we are. Yeah. my stomping grounds.
Your stomping grounds.
Yeah, I love it so far. We came to the show last year. It was phenomenal. We talked to a lot of fantastic people. And I really just hope we have the same amount of foot traffic, and if not more busy than last year, so we can talk to even more people about our great products and just connect with people. So I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. That's my first time. I wasn't here. I had to do something last year, so I wasn't able to come up here.
Yeah.
But we're hanging out with one of our newer dealers in Stereo King.
Yes.
Yeah, they've been. I think Walt and I were talking this morning. I think this show was the first show that they purchased from us. So like we're on like a 1 year anniversary.
Yeah,
which
we
is
actually
pretty cool.
They took product back from the show to stock. So this was the first really go around.
So that's super cool, really exciting, and super grateful to be up here. It's been fun.
Yeah,
you know, it was 2 days of like 10 hours of driving for us to get up here.
Not fun. Yeah,
some of our sponsors came through pretty hard for us right there at the end, so we could get a little bit of a build. Like, we're not done with the build, but OVS came through, Overland Kitchens came out with a really cool kitchen, so we can have a nice little setup here.
That kitchen is awesome, by the way.
It is pretty cool.
I love that thing. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, we drove up to North Hollywood to pick it up because they had sent it to a different an influencer.
Okay.
And he hadn't installed it, and I had reached out to them because we're building another truck, and I needed kitchens for both trucks, and they're actually coming out with a new kind of a slimmer line one that's not as big.
Oh, wow.
And it's supposed to launch like March. So they were like, hey, you know, maybe we'll do those. Are you good with that? I'm like, bro, I'm down with whatever. Like,
of course.
All of your products super. I saw stainless steel and like it's massive. So I was like, yeah, man, let's do that. And then Stereo King was like, hey, can you guys bring up one of your Overland builds? And we had just sold our F-150, had just sold the Tacoma, and the Jeep could have came, but I don't think Walt would have wanted to drive that. That thing is not. It's not a road.
No.
It's a lot of work on the road. It's super
hours
noisy.
Yeah.
I love it myself.
Yeah.
I could drive that thing forever, but I'm a Jeep guy, so that's, I guess, cheating. But
a little biased.
yeah. So, so we were like, all right, well, we'll do this. So I reached out to Chris over there at Overland Kitchen, and I was like, hey, man, any chance you could get something to us for the show? And he's like, let me make some calls. And he did everything. Like, he moved heaven and earth to get it for us, and super grateful. And it's amazing. I couldn't even imagine. Like, it's dope. I get the fridge locks up. Everything closes all nice. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. I mean, when you said they're coming out with a new one, I was like, how could they improve on that? I mean, seriously. I mean, it's really cool.
Yeah,
and
it is super
I can't
cool.
wait to see the new one, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I'm really excited. So when we get back, I'll hit up Chris and chat him up a little bit and see what shows we can go to. But anyways, Weston come through. So, pretty fun to be here at the shows. I like shows, man. It's a different vibe. It's exhausting. This is a long show.
It is exhausting.
Bro,
this is a long show.
These hours are brutal,
Yeah.
dude. We're noon to 9 tonight.
Yeah.
And then noon to 10 tomorrow. And then 10 to 10 Saturday.
It's keep getting longer and longer and longer days.
And then 10 to 7 on Sunday, man. It's going to be a long show. We're going to eat in the booth pretty much. Because usually usually when we work a show, it's busy. So you eat a big breakfast.
Yeah.
And then you just work, and then you eat dinner like right after the show.
Yeah, you kind of have to skip on the lunch.
Yeah.
That's a little intermittent fasting, we call it, right?
Yeah.
In the industry.
I don't know that it's healthy, but it does.
We'll have Doritos maybe a little bit. Yeah. We'll see.
We did sneak in some snacks. You're not wrong there. And thanks to Overland Kitchen and Wolf Box, we have a fridge that can keep everything cold. So
exactly.
Yeah, man. I don't know that I could ever build another show car that's not Overland, because I've gotten used to the kitchens and the fridges, because like we'll sit at these shows with ice cold drinks the whole show, and then if we're outside, I'll sit there, we'll buy some carne asada, and we'll just straight up make tacos.
Yeah,
in our
definitely
booth.
Privileged showgoers, to say the least.
So now, like when we were talking about building out a F-150, we had borrowed one from Cow Pony Cars.
Okay.
They had an F-150, but it was all slammed, on 24s, and looked really, really cool. And Walt's like, hey, maybe we do a lowered one. But then it's kind of catch-22, because we want to get into we go to a bunch of Overland shows.
Yeah.
So for us to lower a truck doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because we wouldn't be able to take it to a lot of the shows.
It'd be limited.
But then I'm like, but then we can't cook out of it. And where's our fridge gonna go?
That's the more important point. Yeah.
I'm like, we can't build anything else right now, because I'm kind of spoiled. Anyways, totally.
I have to say though, I am a sucker for the lowered trucks.
Yeah.
If they're done right,
they got to be done right. And they're just so I grew up in I mean, I don't know how much older I am than you. I have a feeling quite a bit, but
we're not gonna. We won't get into that. It's all good.
But I grew up in the mini truck era, man,
yeah.
where everybody was taking trucks and slamming them and chopping them and chowing them and body dropping them and all that. So,
oh my
like
goodness.
my intro into cars was mini trucking and all the mini truck clubs and all that stuff. So I have a deep love and heart for lowered trucks for sure. You just don't see them anymore.
Well, and that whole 90s generation with street trucks, with the Hurricane, the Lightning, those were all big precedent to that fan base, that hobby. It's really cool, and I wish I'm a little bit younger than to have my 90s and my glory days.
Yeah, those were my glory days.
I do wish, however, I could experience that. Pretty cool era.
It was a different era for sure. Yeah. Car era in general is not what it was.
No.
So like my wife is not necessarily a car person, and she doesn't necessarily enjoy coming to shows at all, but because I've been in cars for so long, like she gets the whole I don't know, culture and whatnot. So we actually literally had this conversation. I don't know, we were driving home from somewhere and we saw a mini truck.
Yeah.
And she was just like, man, you just don't see that anymore. Like, she's like, nobody does anything to cars anymore. I'm like, they don't, and it's heartbreaking. And you know what's the most heartbreaking is, back then, like, you had to legitimately build everything. Like, if you were going to lower it, you were making the suspensions parts, you were doing everything. Now there's so many manufacturers making things to make it really easy to make a really cool car, and just nobody does it.
I mean, just the new Ford F-150 Coyotes. I mean, you just had the slap-on Whipple kit from the factory, and you've got a sweet truck. But like to Jonathan's point, there's no building of the. It's not your.
Yeah, nobody's
baby.
really doing anything anymore.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
You see clean cars, but you don't see anything that's like
that blows you away.
Yeah, whack out builds anymore. Unless you come to shows like this, then it's then you've got all the old school guys.
This might be why we love it a little.
Yeah, man. Like from my view right here, I've got a Tesla here. I've got an old like 70s Chevy kind of with the patina thing going on with a McLaren, a green McLaren behind it.
Yeah,
right?
it's just like it's so random. It's so awesome. It's kind of honestly like numb me out to cars, which it's a good and a bad thing because I'm around it so much, but I don't appreciate it more as much in the wild as I should.
Yeah, because you see all the crazy.
Exactly.
I remember the first time I saw a Lamborghini, I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. Now it's like, it's a Lamborghini.
That's cool.
That's cool. It's all right.
Which by the way, I do not like. That's my one thing about these shows that I don't like is that I become kind of numbed out to the wow factor of a lot of these cars. But you know what? I'll take it.
Yeah. No, I think there's a ton of great cars here, and this one's a little different because it's an auto show, so big manufacturer side of things. So
that's
like
true.
Chevy's big with all their new stuff over there. I saw their EV Colorado or whatever they're calling that thing.
I haven't really looked into that too much.
Yeah, I haven't either. I didn't know they were making one, but I appreciate it because. All right, I'm gonna speak my mind.
Okay.
I don't like the Ford Lightning at all.
Okay.
I think it looks cheap, and I think Ford trying to make the front end look like a normal truck made it look cheap because like the grill you can tell isn't a real grill.
It's plastic.
Like it's like the holes aren't real holes because the trunk's not, or the hood's not a engine, it's a trunk, so they can't
it doesn't act as a vent.
Yeah, it doesn't need a vent. It needs to stay. So I get all the reasoning behind it, but it just makes it look cheap.
I agree.
And it just makes it like, I don't know. But the Chevy one, they made the front end look like it's supposed to be.
Yeah, they should really be taking that new piece of car that they don't need a vent for the engine. They should really be using it as a canvas.
Something different.
To do something different.
Final test of the
That's way better than the first time.
Yes.
Check.
Oh, good shows. Good shows.
Yeah, but one thing I do like about the Tesla's design, at least, is that they really just stopped that whole grill area. I mean, they really used it as to add more lines to the car instead of just throwing up plastic on there, which I do get that point.
Yeah. So that's why I'm not a big fan of the Lightning. I don't know that I'll ever be a fan of electric cars at all.
Yeah.
I just not my gig, but. To each their own. But yeah, I did see that. So anyway, it's a manufacturer show. So a lot of like manufacturer stuff here, and then you have guys like Stereo King that are customizing things, and you got stuff like us. So it's a different show for us. I don't know that we've done an auto show yet, but it's cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. So you've been born in this industry.
Yeah.
So how many
How many sound systems have you had in your own cars?
Well, I've only been
able to drive for about 6 years. So I'm
God,
still
you're
young.
so
I know,
young.
I'm
Never
young. I'm
mind.
young.
I don't want to talk
That's the only
anymore.
age
We're
I'll
gonna.
mention.
Yeah.
I have had 3 cars. My first couple were budget systems.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And I have had some interim cars where I'll just buy a kind of a like an old
Commuter,
Civic,
something to get
some
around,
some
yeah.
easy. So I did a Frankenstein. I had an '01 Civic. And I just did a old Kenwood powered sub.
Okay.
And then I did Hertz Audison 5 1/4 door speakers,
Okay.
which were awesome. And then I did a Blaupunkt 5-channel amp.
Okay.
Like, it's just all over the board.
Blaupunkt, that's
yeah,
kicking
right.
it back.
So I go all the way from that, and then right now currently I have a 2019 Civic Si, which I love. I adore that car. But I have a kicker downfiring L7 subwoofer hooked up to a CXA 801.
Okay.
And that's running at 2 ohms, so I'm pushing 600 watts out of the amp. And then I'm running all stock speakers, which is a part of I use my car as a demo car since I am a rep. I drive it around to my dealers. That's one of my biggest selling points is this car can sound this good without replacing any of the speakers, because a lot of times, especially Honda, they do have decent, stock speakers.
Yeah.
They're always not the best, but you can make them work with a clean signal and some bass, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big part of mine. I also, in addition to my CX8 amplifier I have in there, I have an Audison AF Forza amp, which is DSP. The DSP is that clean signal, and boy, oh boy, does that make it sound
Game
good.
changer.
It's game changer.
Yeah.
Seriously.
DSPs definitely changed the sound game.
Yeah.
And to your point, like a lot of the manufacturers are putting in decent speakers as far as what they can reproduce. You just got to give it the right signal.
100%.
Yeah. So I think with our Chevy, when we finish up our Chevy, we'll probably wind up keeping all the
Your
Bose
attention, please.
speakers in there.
How many tests?
In 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
30 minutes announcement.
Oh, man.
That means we have to be done within 30 minutes.
Yes.
Otherwise, we're just gonna have a whole bunch of weird people walking through our thingy,
Hey,
which I don't know could be bad or good.
It could,
you know?
I'd probably be both.
It'd be interesting.
Since we're able to edit.
Yeah. chop is all.
Yes, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
at least we're not live streaming. That would be bad. I would say
Yeah.
no go on that for sure.
Yep. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, because I know your pops is quite the audio aficionado.
Yeah.
He,
our garage is like an audio graveyard.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah.
There's a
He's
lot
got
of stuff.
his whole Spotify list for music to listen to when tuning and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah, he's quite the aficionado. I mean, his car has been in the Hertz booth a couple times?
Audison booth. Yeah, it's been in
Yeah.
at SEMA twice now.
Yeah.
This year was the second year. I think it's going to go into retirement now.
Yeah. Usually that's what happens.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate, but it's a great car. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just know he's quite the audiophile. when
He
it
is.
comes
He's
to
very,
that.
very creative, and he takes a lot of pride in making the playlists.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, and I get all of my music love and music suggestions from him inherently. I grew up, he was playing Coldplay when I was in the womb. I mean, everything. I've heard it since the beginning.
Put the speakers on
Yes.
this. Your mom's like,
come on, falling asleep to Coldplay here.
I love that. That's super funny. That's
Yeah.
the best.
No, I love it though. I love music, man. I love that. I grew up around that. I'm very
Yeah,
grateful.
yeah. I like music too. And then experiencing music in a vehicle that sounds good is always that's a key. Which is one of the big pushes, like when we talk about how Linkswell is different than a lot of the other Android radios out there. Like that's a big thing for us, is we really are trying to create a system that gives you all the cool features and can be clean and sound good. Because that's a, I mean, what's the word I'm looking for? That's a non-negotiable for me.
100%.
Like I
Should
just
be.
can't enjoy a radio that's gonna sound like crap.
Yeah.
You
It kind of goes hand to hand.
Yeah.
And that's that's a big part of why I like the Linkswell radio so much, is they look so good, and we want the ability to have them build like a real competitive system.
Yeah.
And it run off the Linkswell head unit, because you want that beautiful head unit to be a part of the
Yeah,
system,
yeah,
right?
yep.
And I think that's really key.
Yeah, and I mean, again, that's key why we put in, like, you talked about the DSP, man, and getting to go from, optical out from the radio straight to a DSP. Now, your whole paradigm of sound quality is
Shoots to the roof. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Perfect.
super crazy. So,
Yeah.
right on, man. So, what is? Are you changing anything up in this next build? You gonna add anything?
Well, I'm planning on keeping this car. I like to swap out cars a lot. I'm planning on at least 2 years. So The only thing I'm gonna maybe do is sound deaden it. I have some rattles.
Yeah, that's
I have some rattles.
Yes.
Which are driving me crazy because I drive the car every day.
Yeah.
And then
and a Civic's not the most soundproof.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's better than Tesla's though. Tesla's the build quality, the interior build quality is very apparent when you get some real bass.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever ridden in a Tesla long enough to know.
Or had one with real bass, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Really, you need some bass to bring those out. But adding some more bass, I think I'm going to do some new Kicker Warhorse stuff. When it comes, obviously, need to sound deadened before I do that. Otherwise, it's going to be just a trunk rattler, which it's going to be anyway. But yeah, and then maybe eventually getting around to replacing the stock speakers. But again, I do like the selling point with my customers is, this is what you can get with stock speakers, and I think it's underappreciated in the industry how much you can do with just an amplifier.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just I guess more bass, like always.
More bass.
Yeah. What do you need
It's
more
all
of?
about
Bass.
that bass. About that bass. No
Always.
treble.
Every time.
So good. Right on, man.
Every time.
Well, I think we'll call it. Yeah. What would you say to this is your area? We're in your stomping grounds. Mm-hmm. So what would you say to a dealer that's out there that's not selling Linkswell? What would be your why they should?
Because there's nothing else like it.
All right, cool.
Period. But when you do get into specifics, when there's comparisons between different brands and stuff like that, especially different brands in this category, Linkswell is a lot different because of the Prime Source factory, and they just every time that I've, as a rep firm, and even Stereo King as a customer when we did our training, there's stuff that gets brought up technical wise that Linkswell, unlike other companies, are able to go back to the factory and it's done within a couple months. And as a rep, as somebody in the industry, that just doesn't happen. Everybody's on 3, 4, 5 year product cycles to where they have any updates at all. So that would be my biggest thing is, hey, if you ever have issues with something unique, it'll probably be fixed in a month or two, which is a big deal. And that really is my biggest selling point to customers when they have any questions about it. So
that's good, man. I think there's, for me, like I said, I've been in this industry too long. Yeah. And so there's always the wow factor of the features,
yes,
the new stuff and the fact that it is different, that there isn't stuff out there like it. Like you really can't compare us to really anything else out there. And it just wouldn't be fair on either side, the expectations of and whatnot. But having, I guess, the privilege of working here and getting to be in so much communication with our factory, like it to me, it feels like it's always all we should be. Yeah. Right. Like a brand should be able to have that much control over manufacturing, and because we are we're not a brand buying from one factory who's selling to multiple people. Like we are 100% in-house, all our own. It does make that part of support and stuff better. I was just kind of, I think I take it for granted. Because I'm just in it. And so when I hear folks say, that's a big thing, you're right. It is a big deal to be able to have actual control over what the factory
just
produces.
Because of so many manufacturers are on that route. They're buying from a factory that's selling to a bunch of other manufacturers. It's unique now, which it shouldn't be, but it stands out because it's unique. And to touch on your point about the features, I mean, nowadays it seems like CarPlay's great. Everybody loves CarPlay. I love CarPlay. You can't beat it. It's great. But it seems like there's no innovation anymore. It's been CarPlay for like 10 or 12 years, and there's no innovation. And these guys are the only ones that are really taking the steps to improve that. And the feature sets are amazing. So I'm in full agreement with that, and that's another huge point.
That's Vic's big thing when he talks all the time. He's like, every radio out there, like we stopped in this industry, we stopped developing new things with the double din radio. And we didn't do anything else until Apple created CarPlay. And then no manufacturer created CarPlay. Apple did.
Exactly.
So all of the perks of CarPlay and Android Auto came from, Samsung and Apple and all these other guys making the programs. And whatnot.
There's just been a lack of innovation. So you guys are changing that.
We're trying to. We're definitely trying to. So right on, man. Well, I think we will call it a show.
Awesome.
Thanks for being my first comeback guest.
Yes, that was awesome.
We'll get this all cleaned up before the mad rush of customers come in here.
That's
or maybe we just leave it all set up and recorded, if you time lapse the chaos that happens.
That might be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I might have to set up a time lapse one, but
that's a good idea.
Right on, man. All right, guys. Well, that's episode 29 in the books, coming here in Oregon at the Auto Show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Remember, we're still trying to give away that amp, so hit the link in the description. Get yourself an entry, or 2 or 3 or 4, into getting a free 1,000-watt amp.
Yes.
But that is that. I think, no promises, but I think I'm back in studio next week.
Ooh.
No promises.
No promises.
But yeah, that's what we got.
Cool.
Anyways, we will see you guys next week.